Incredible! This is
The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Dabs. Happy New Year to all our listeners and followers, and welcome to episode 149 of The Grove Podcast. Now, thank you for listening. And again, I assume you're all doing quite well, that your heart rate and blood pressure is back to normal following yet another, but in the cold light of day, not nervy win as we beat Bournemouth 3-2 last night at the Vitality Stadium. And for those that are doing dry January, following this current Arsenal team may not be particularly helpful and may cause a number of you to fall off the wagon. And joining me today, who I will ask this very question, is Jamie. Happy New Year. Hope you had a nice Christmas. How's your dry January going so far? And will this Arsenal team make you fall off the wagon?
Perfectly well. I had two lucky saints in the aftermath of yesterday's game. So that's quite absolutely fine.
Oh, for those of you that don't know, and I just clocked, Lucky Saint is a non-alcoholic lager. So
I'm not saying.
Yeah, I thought it's going really well. I thought it was going really well. I've only had 2 beers this January, so that's a good dry January for me. I thought that's where you were going. So good stuff. And look, if we're a little bit distracted, we've got Man City 1-0 up, 75 minutes gone against Chelsea, and we've sort of both got that in one eye on our iPads or whatever, and then I'll be switching to the NFL next after that. But anyway, enough of that. Before we carry on, as always, a quick favour, if you can leave a nice little 5-star rating on the podcast app, subscribe on the podcast apps, on our YouTube channel, wherever you watch and listen, really appreciate it. It does help. The numbers are going up, and that's great to see. So consider it a small New Year's gift from you to us as we gift you this pod. So there we go. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on with the show. Bournemouth 2, Arsenal 3. Jamie, what was your highlight and lowlight from yesterday's game?
Highlight, I'm going to go for Victor Gyökeres' performance because it was one of those games that did really suit his skill set, his harrowing, his work rate, his pressing was really good. And then for the assist for the Declan Rice goal, where he did actually do a great job of out-muscling a defender for the first time that I remember in an Arsenal shirt, to be honest. So that's going to be my highlight as someone who's been a critic, is just to say I really enjoyed what he did. And actually, I thought when he went off, I've been clamouring for Jesus to start a bit more. And it's not that Jesus was poor necessarily, as much as I did think you maybe saw a little bit less in intensity. Although, having said that, I rewatched it late last night and thought actually maybe Gyökeres' intensity dropped off himself actually when we were 3-1 up, if I'm honest. So yeah, it was nice to see that. Really positive.
Okay. Okay. Because I had it as a talking point for later. So, but now you raised it, and before we get to your low light, it was interesting you said that as your highlight, because it is a bit of a topic of discussion, and you have your views on him, and I think everyone's still expecting a bit more. He's not doing his primary role, which is shooting and scoring, but he's part of a winning team. As we've said, he's not been signed as the main man, but he's just been thrust into that position due to injuries. Sometimes it's been noted that potentially we drop off that intensity. Now, maybe, as you said, as we're winning 2-1, when it gets 70 minutes, he may not be showing the same amounts. It's hard to tell, but he was yesterday doing a lot of the off-the-ball work, was working really hard, a real nuisance. Like you said, I think it was 4 defenders. There were a couple of steals and shots. When you look at that goal that Rice scored, took away 4 defenders with him, and he forced a poor clearance which landed at Odegaard's feet, and we know what happens next, and we'll do that. And look, as I said, he's part of a team that's top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League. And maybe we need to have a rethink of what our expectations are. Who he's meant to be to us. I don't think the stats were ever going to translate from Portugal to here, and I think it was Andy or Andy on the last one of the last pods, or maybe Ian that said that, like, if you look at the Portuguese league and you compare it to the English league, it's mainly, apart from Porto, Benfica, and Sporting Lisbon, it's basically League One standard. So maybe it's just level setting our expectations. And with him, and the big thing I want to call out is that he seems to be getting grief. Now, maybe we're noticing the grief because we're Arsenal fans, but if you look at all the attackers that were bought and moved for big money in the summer, are any of them doing anything special? You got maybe Ekitike, I guess, for Liverpool, but he's an £80 million
TK's
player.
the one, isn't it? You'd have taken him, but you are right. Price band is different. Having said that, I think the price on Ekitike's head was also to do with his age, right? Which is the big variable between the two, and the same could probably be made of Sesko as well. I think the thing that I would probably say, and I get your point here, and I've seen your Instagram replies to a couple of people about it, and I don't massively disagree. It will probably come on to a general thing about the way that I feel that there is a lot of whinging about a perceived bias, and it's like there might be a perceived bias, but there's no point in whinging about it. But the difference with him is he was the one who was brought in to be, you must hit the ground running and you must do. I don't think that was the case. Sesko didn't, he
was always going to be a project.
He's a project. Ekitike came off the back of a season where, for a start, he played different positionally to Gyökeres. He's younger and is expected to.
He's a different profile. He's more like one of our wing forwards, the wing forward type.
Yeah. Liam Delap, I'd say, similar again, and much less money for a player that, to be honest, I think probably looks fairly adjacent to Victor Gyökeres, if I'm completely honest. Most of those guys that moved around in this summer, I don't think any of them had the same expectations set. Most of them have still failed to meet the expectations for various reasons. And that speaks somewhat, I think, to what the market for number 9s is. There is a problem with the market for number 9s for a club like Arsenal, in that there aren't that many that you feel are ready to kick on and do the job at a club like Arsenal necessarily. And that was the challenging market that we went into.
Yeah,
I still think that there might have been a broader set of options than Sesko and Gyökeres.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. But I do think individually you can still criticise him while saying this was a good performance, a nice thing to see. It's nice to see the lad who has worked his bollocks off since he's been at the Arsenal. So for that,
you can't fault his
that
effort.
Same thing. Fans will always love you if you work your bollocks off, and I sort of do. I sort of do love him. I just don't think he's good enough to play as our main number 9, and therefore we will have to be back in the market again at some point.
Yeah, I think, and maybe the one that's most akin to him would be maybe like someone João Pedro at Chelsea, but he's only scored 6 goals and 3 assists compared to Victor's 5. And
goes missing a lot as well, João Pedro. I would say you get moments of greatness, and I'd say he's more analog to Gabriel Jesus. João Pedro, you get lovely games, you get really shit ones.
Yeah, and then look, Voltemada's come in again, a younger one. He's scored 5, so I think he's done all right. But then you look at Mbeumo and Cunha, again, different profiles. But it's more the case of you get these big money signings, and these are bigger money signings, and they're not pulling up any trees either. So it just goes to show you that there wasn't a lot of value out there. The options were a bit thin on the ground, and actually, I think, as I said, how much we signed him for and all the rest of it, given the team we had, I don't think it was ever designed to be the number 1 guy. Just he was thrust into that. But anyway, he seems to be, again, it's hard. Is it damning with faint praise? He's doing all the hard work off the ball, he's doing this, but he's not doing his main job, but we're still winning the league. So I think it can be a bit of everything, really. We want more, we expect more, but he's still contributing in his own way. And as long as we keep winning, then it sort of staves off some of those, staves off a lot of the criticism. But I think we can all agree, though, we still want to see a bit more, and maybe that'll come again. Often, he's been 6 months in our team. Sometimes players take a bit of a while to get used to it. It takes us time to get used to him. So I think until he starts banging them in regularly, I think it's going to be an ongoing discussion point. So let's see where he goes. But I think everyone in the Arsenal fandom, a lot of people still have faith with him. And look, we've got him, and we have to back him. So what would you say is your low light then?
I struggle slightly with the with what the low light is potentially. Maybe again there was a little bit of a slip off towards the end. I'd actually probably go with I'm just going to go with the super obvious one, which is
go for it.
Going behind so early. That was just a bit. I hadn't actually switched it on at that point, so that's how early it was, and it was that was it was quite horrible to turn it on and immediately see the score and
Yeah.
not knowing what it was.
And
And
not even,
then
did you not even know how
the
it
replay kicked in shortly after? And that's my very, very obvious low light. And watching it back again, you look at that when honestly, I mean, I do not understand who Gabriel's passing to there whatsoever. So it had real hallmarks of the 2001 season, that goal. We used to literally, Bournemouth did it to us, but it was most of the time Aaron Ramsdale was involved, right? But it was Aaron Ramsdale or Rob Holding. It was either, and Rob, you could kind of be like, well, that man's going to do that with his passing because he can't pass the ball particularly well, unfortunately. And similarly with Ramsdale as well, he would just be overconfident, or he's the ADHD goalkeeper, isn't he? So he just seemed to. I do remember against Bournemouth themselves, I'm fairly sure he struck directly at one of their
that might be Southampton. I remember it against Southampton. Yeah,
South Coast teams anyway. Somebody off the South Coast.
And then Walcott
really
scores.
Of that time when we still hadn't quite worked out what we were doing with playing around the back, and we still hadn't quite worked out how to, when to take risks, when not to, etc. And it was just super, super careless.
Yeah.
So that's the one for me.
Were you worried? Given, and we'll touch on Bournemouth's record, but given their Bournemouth's record at home, all right, we'll touch on it now. So they'd only let in before last night 6 goals at home. They'd only lost once at home. Okay, 1-4, drawn 4, lost 1. So going 1-0 down after 11 minutes, were you worried? Yeah, were you worried that this is going to be, how we're going to get back into this, or was it early enough to take stock and go again?
No, because I kind of, if there's one thing Bournemouth aren't going to do, then it's shut up shop nicely. That's not what Bournemouth and Iriola's team do at all, right? So the concern for me, in a weird way, it would have been greater at somebody worse than Bournemouth, actually, in a footballing sense, because you'd have felt they'd have shut up shop and we're going to see something grindy, and I'd have worried for my sanity as much as I would necessarily for what the result might potentially be. So there's always a little bit of worry, because whenever you're losing a game, you are more likely to lose the game, and you are more likely to draw than you are to win, etc. All those things, right? But nonetheless, I kind of felt there were going to be goals in it. In fact, I actually went at that particular moment in time. I went and had a look at the prediction I'd given and saw 2-1 and went, I don't know why I went 2-1 on this. I think there's going to be goals in this. That's
your prediction's not going to be right until they score. So there you go.
There is that. But I genuinely just, I always felt that they had the ability to be able to score against us. They score against the majority of top teams. What they struggle with is actually keeping them out against the top teams.
Yeah.
So, and they're an ambitious side, and that's the thing. So I genuinely didn't worry a great deal. Had that been at Everton, for instance, I'm absolutely crapping myself, because Everton have the player profiles and the discipline and the manager that go, we shut up shop. We don't show any ambition here. And we grind and we grind and we grind and we get a 96th minute equaliser, would have been the way last season at least. Whereas, against Bournemouth, I did think it was going to be, I thought, well, to be honest, it's going to be a bit of a game this now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for Gabriel to score and make up for things so soon afterwards, which is so Gabriel to do as well.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen, when he has made the odd mistake, him correct it himself?
Yeah.
Feels like
I was trying to think of the games. People are mentioning Newcastle. This year, because letting Baltimore to get the header. Yeah. I think he's done it against Fulham as well. Someone's talking about. So, and look, to be honest, the main error was that he rushed to take the kick. There was Saliba on the far side of the box, which is still an ambitious pass, but you hit it hard enough, it goes to him. Or there was Timber, who was in midfield, clear. So it's hard to know how he hit it, who he was going for. But it was just the fact it was a blind one. Maybe Evan Nilsson, he did see him, but he just hit it off his shin or whatever, or he didn't see him. I don't know. Yeah, it is unlike him. So, the crowd got behind him. You're not going to chastise. It's not like Mustafi doing it or Holding doing it that you can just get right in their back. We know how we play. We know who he is.
He was on international duty. Yeah.
Whatever, but luckily it didn't cost us, and maybe unless that happens, who knows? We don't win the game without it. So, a strange thing. So, for me, in terms of my highlight, I'll also pick out a particular player. I thought Madueke's performance in the first half was very good. A a real bright spark. I did call that I thought he was going to start today's game, give Saka a rest before the Liverpool game. He's causing danger down the right. He was our main threat. Now, he did have that one chance where he should have done better. He did all the hard work, cut across, and then sometimes when footballers, when they take these shots, when they lift both feet off the ground, I feel like they're lacking a bit of control. And this one needed a bit of finessing, a bit like Declan Rice did for his first goal. Just need a bit of finessing into the. Now, if I was younger, I would do the PlayStation numbers to tell you how to finesse it, but I'm not, so I don't know. But yeah, he needs.
It's R1. Pretty sure it's R1. That's the one.
Yeah, well, whatever. I have no idea what you're talking about there. But I was very Route One when it came to things like that. He's
very fit. He went very FIFA 15, where you had to double tap to get the driven, and instead he went and if you did it too late, you skied it over.
And that's what he did. But you sort of also compare how he attacks the flank compared to maybe Martinelli does. It's just he really does drive at the defender, drive at the attacker, get there, get down there. So I thought that was a really bright spark. Now, he was also involved with the equaliser. So not directly the assist, but the pre assist, but without his the way he was running. So I thought it was really good to see, and it is great that you rest Saka. And if you're the defender on the left hand side, great, Saka's not playing. Oh, it's Madueke. All right, who's going to come on after Madueke? Oh, great. So it's a great option to have. So I'm really, really pleased with him. I think my low light, you went for the first goal. I'm saying the second goal, and we will touch a bit on this a bit later, but just the way that we let Kuiper, whatever, he's like that young guy. Apparently he's scored 6 goals. He's like the top scoring teenager in the league. How we just sort of let him run. Is someone going to close him down? Then suddenly you see Saka in the picture, but too late. He has a free shot now. It's a bloody good shot, but no one got anywhere. No one got near him. We didn't shut him down. So I was a bit annoyed with that, because at that time 3-1 up, just control the game, see it out, and instead Arsenal do Arsenal things and addicted to this 1-0 one goal advantage wins. So and I wanted to also call out the second low light was more Trossard than Jesus, but I thought those sub appearances were very against the grain in terms of how our sub appearances have been this year, and particularly Leo. Yeah, he's been brilliant this season, but he went back to his old ways. He was doing that thing, running across the pitch, either losing the ball or giving the ball away, like he gave the ball away for Saliba to get sent off last year. I thought, and it was just a terrible 15 minutes, and he just couldn't get into it. And I think maybe Jesus a few times as well. There was a couple of times where the Bournemouth are running out with the ball, 93rd minute, 92nd minute. He's hardly been on the pitch, and he's sort of jogging back into position. Just run, just annoy the defender. You may not get it, but just be a nuisance, be something. And I just felt both of them didn't really get up to the pace of the game or do what was required, what we needed for we held out, but didn't do what we needed. I don't know if you noticed anything particular.
No, I do entirely agree, mate. I mean, as I say, it was kind of to the certainly about J9 as well. The point I was saying about with Gyökeres, it felt like there was less intensity after he went off. But as I say, I do think there was less intensity in the last 5-10 minutes from being on as well. So maybe that speaks to something more broadly about just kind of the way the team went. And I do think sometimes with the strikers as well, actually, and this is a point I've seen in a couple of these kind of tactical videos and whatever as well. A lot of people kind of expect and just kind of call for why isn't the striker pressing, why isn't the striker pressing, etc. And they do tend to be somewhat betrothed to the press behind them, and it being called, right. So we've got Odegaard is typically when fit is oh yes. Oh, hang on a minute.
No way.
Chelsea have just done it, mate. There we go.
Oh, sorry. Brilliant. So I'm delayed. No, brilliant. Oh, really? Oh, my God. Isn't it the meme if Carlsberg did weekends? Sorry, so that's someone
Bloody
running down the right ring. The lap leaves it. Enzo. Oh, he took 3 attempts to score. Oh, my God.
Okay, sorry, as I was starting to answer that, I was getting more and more distracted. I saw that ball go over. I think it was Reece James' ball. If it wasn't,
27.
It's his kind of ball, and it goes across. And I'm looking and going, somebody's got to get in the end of this. Someone's getting on the
misses
end
it.
Oh, it was absolutely belter of a ball.
Gianluca, my son's just giving it to you. I think Donnarumma makes an error as well. which is good to see.
Oh no,
so
it's not. It's João Pedro, isn't it? Yeah, it's João Pedro, I think.
27. Yeah, I don't care. Just
I think he's
brilliant.
on.
Look, I need to go and wash my mouth out with water. By the way, soap and water, because we're cheering a Chelsea goal. However, he
Still a
just
slight
takes
little VAR check.
Oh wait, he gets through O'Reilly, nutmegs O'Reilly across.
Yeah.
Oh shit, are they onside? Yeah, onside. Flick. Oh, Ake takes it away from Delap. A couple of attempts by Enzo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a save by Donnarumma first time round.
Yeah,
Wow.
First time save is fantastic. And then
Oh my god.
yeah, he just manages to stick it home, doesn't he? So
Is it given? Because have they started kicked off yet?
It's been a long time now, so let's see. But
Have they not?
honestly,
have they kicked
I
off?
mean, it's looking like that is a Chelsea equaliser, and if that is a Chelsea equaliser, then my word,
What a weekend.
what a weekend! What's
Have
that?
they kicked off? Because you're behind me. I'm on 94.45. Sorry, listeners, but this is too important. I should have paused the pod.
I'm well into the 95th minute. No, it's saying goal. It looks like they're kicking off. Yeah, I think we're all good. They've said
in.
it. Right. Yeah.
There we go. Right, if Carlsberg did weekends, what 1-1 again? Get in. Right. Anyway, so that's put a different perspective. That's put a different perspective on the pod. So anyway, I don't care anymore about Bournemouth. We won. Let's go.
That's it. Mate, 6 points clear now. Six
points clear.
Right?
So that means we can lose 2 games and still be top if we've got a better goal difference. Wow. That's it. I'm loving all the messages now on the Grove chat. Chelsea are class. I've always said so, Henry. I will be having a deep clean after this. Because you know how much I hate that fucking clown car of a club. I always get that. I wish I'd chosen an easier name to call them. I've always hated Chelsea. Always will hate Chelsea, but. This is quite nice, but Man City as well are quite up there in terms of hated. So there we go. Anyway, let's carry on. So the lineup yesterday. So I think the main talking point yesterday was, would Rice play? Would he not? And we'll get onto his performance, but thankfully he did. Noni came in for Saka, as we said. Good call. Gyökeres remained up front, and Nelly in for Tross. No Have on the bench because I think he's ill or being managed. So how did you find that? Find that sort of lineup okay with it? Fairly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, actually, weirdly, again, because I had distractions in the morning and in the early afternoon, I didn't think too much about it, purely because I tuned in. I hadn't seen the lineup prior to tuning in, basically.
Okay.
And when I saw who was out there, the first one that stood out was Madueke, because he was immediately being direct and hassling and doing stuff right away. And I thought to myself, all right, okay, I just hope it's not a knock to Saka or whatever. So I was mainly just pleasantly surprised when he came off the bench as well, knowing that there had indeed been no issue there. It was nice to see Rice back, obviously. I know that some people were pointing to the kind of, the conversation with Morgan Rogers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the lip readers are out.
Yeah, but for me, to be honest, I just sort of I thought at the time, I was like, well, I think he was just explaining to Morgan Rogers why he didn't play that day, right? Like, and if you say
full time, I've got that
fantastic.
From
there we go.
Full time for the Grove. And sorry, just to add, Alistair says, I've always thought Enzo is a really good character too, upstanding man, not a shit at all. Yeah, I agree, Alistair.
I'm not willing to go that far. I'm not. But,
no. What's your matter? Anyway, so Declan Rice, the lip readers are out against Morgan Rogers, and
I just thought at the time, that's just the way that you just say it. So you're not necessarily saying your knees fucked as in your knees fucked for weeks to come. You're just saying, it's swollen like a right bastard, mate. I don't know where it's come from. It's just swollen up really horribly the last couple of days, and that's that. You don't have to be, talking too long term. So, as I say, that was the main two that stuck out to me as soon as I switched on with those two, and just going, excellent, nice to see the two of them in the lineup. And then obviously, you then notice Trossard's not in the team, and I just sort of thought, I didn't really think a great deal of that, to be honest. I think this is that point now. He's got a really good squad available to him right now. There are going to be games where he goes with Madueke over Saka, he goes with Martinelli over Trossard, he goes with Jesus over Gyökeres, whatever. Those rotations are going to have to be a part of what we see now.
Yeah, no, indeed. I think the one good thing was that actually he got a kick to the knee rather than twisting it. So I think it's just swelling from a kick. So you can play through that a bit more. Just a bit of swelling on that. So, and he looked all right yesterday. I mean, I would have been happy for him to be benched because we got Liverpool in mind. I think we still could have had more than enough if we played Marino or even Norgard. Norgard's played against Bournemouth plenty of times. So and you move Zubimendi up one and stuff like that. So I would have been, more than happy with that. But obviously, it turned out all right. And it's one of the very few times that we've seen the Zubimendi, Odegaard, Rice midfield, as well. So I think they need to operate more to get more of those relationships going, to get that working better. I'm not saying it's working badly, but just to get the automatons in and so on. So yeah. But again, a decent lineup. So in terms of the overall game itself, from a stats perspective, we had majority of possession, 57 to their 43, which was, I guess, to be expected. But they had better the XG. They had 1.43 to our 1.13, and this is only the third time this season that we've been out XG'd, if that's such a thing. We've lost a battle like Man United away, Aston Villa away, Bournemouth away. However, 0.73 of that was Evan Nilsson's goal. So it was like practically an empty net. So you could almost half that. I mean, but they did have 15 shots, 3 on target to our 12 and 5 on target. They had one big chance, which they took. We had 2 big chances, which we both took. So yeah, fairly even.
About a bit, but I mean, a lot of those shots were very speculative. I will say, like the likes of the ones coming from David Brooks, and I think he had a couple of them where he took them from a wide angle, and it was never going to be a bit.
Cliver, I think, also.
Cliver had that belter. In fairness, he can fucking strike a ball, can't he?
Yeah.
But they don't actually go in that often.
No.
So
unless you're Newcastle, where he scored a hat trick last year. But yeah, so it was one of those ones that. The game, it was one of those ones that they got into dangerous situations without creating a huge deal. As we said, I said most of their XG came from the Evan Nilsson chance and maybe then the Tavernier header, which a good header, lost his marker, but in general there wasn't too much of a a threat as such. But it felt, again, typical us, it felt dangerous more than it actually as they was. But in terms of the overall game, how we played, how they played, what were your thoughts? What did you make of the performance?
Do you know, in a weird way, it wasn't businesslike and it was businesslike at the same time. It was the overall impression comes across almost like we've just we've got through that without playing particularly well, and that's that kind of businesslike element to it, right? But we gave away an early goal and we gave away a late goal, the two things that you really don't particularly want to do in this game. It was a really strange one. I think overall I just come out of the impression that I was happy with several performances. There's nobody that stood out as being particularly pants, as you say. The subs weren't impactful, but you get that with substitutes sometimes, especially probably in the way and kind of what they came on into as a game as well. And I think it was just, it was a fairly intense game where Bournemouth, as they so often do, looked really bloody good whilst not necessarily looking like a team that's going to win that many games. And we handled it and we were the better team and we come away with a deserved win. But was it a 1-goal margin win? It very much bloody well was,
You think? Okay.
I think it was, yeah. I don't think we blew them away. I don't think I don't think there were a load of goals that we failed to score that were out there. I just think we came away with probably the most deserved result that you possibly could. It spoke to the fact that we were a little bit lax, kind of defensive or taking care of the game, whilst at the same time we were really effective in those moments that we needed to be, and that made us the better team, and we looked the better team in the game. But only marginally. I think maybe at 3-1, control it better, do better. But again, look, it's a long range shot. Even if you do give him the freedom of the park, you're still not expecting that to go in, or so that happens. But maybe you think, I actually thought at 3-1 we were going to go on and hey, I did another 4-1 prediction and get that, or the chat was all about at 3-1, we haven't let in
more than 2 goals since December 23 against Luton. So, well, we got the draw. We're winning 3-1. So Moz's prediction is going to come right. Maybe we're going to get another. So I felt like I think we created the better chances or the more clear-cut ones and less speculative. I think it was deserved. I mean, but the one thing is, I don't think we should underestimate how important this win was for us. After the Villa game, you do that to Villa after what's gone before that. Now, we've won those games, but the way we beat Villa, the way we battered them, to follow that up with a win, and it wasn't like a dreadful win. I think, as I said, deserved win. And in going to the Liverpool game on Thursday, I think it was really important to maintain that momentum. And I think, as we've said, it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't where we felt that settled. And the way Bournemouth played doesn't especially allow that either. They're really, as I said, they're a difficult team at home. Lost once, letting 6 goals, now 9. They're full of energy. The high press put us under pressure. And the only thing is that what helps us in a way maybe, and it's their strength and weakness, that they only ever seem to be dangerous in transition. They don't control games. So as you said, if we go 1-0 down, they're not going to sit there, pass the ball around, control it, deny you possession. They really are a team in a transition team. So there's not going to be wave after attack. So I think it was about us trying to wrestle back control and do that. I think first half was more that the Bournemouth type of game. There was a lot of the ball bouncing around, lots of scrappiness, lots of them winning the ball, lots of us winning the ball, and it was that sort of game. Second half, I think better. We kept possession better. We played a bit faster, but I think also what I did notice that with the way they play, also if you hold out, they will then fatigue out a bit. And there was particularly at the end of the game, there were moments where it was basically they had defenders and they had the attackers and they had no midfield. There maybe even one man in midfield. And you can see us once we got past their 4 or 5 attackers that they had, you'd have Marino would have the freedom and Odegaard would have freedom to just get the ball forward. Now our forwards didn't hold on to it. They didn't do the great bulk. So great job. So it came back. But it was that thing where we weren't suffering wave after wave of attack. We could rest away pressure.
There wasn't much of a midfield in the whole game, though, was there? In fairness, I didn't think our midfield.
But it was more noticeable.
Declan Rice managed to get himself those 2 goals. I didn't think he actually imposed himself on the game that much. Otherwise, I didn't think Mendy imposed himself anywhere near as much as he normally does. And we didn't control the game in the midfield. No. And I think if anything, actually watched. 2 of the goals come off quite scrappy, slightly direct play as well, right? So it was one of those. To be fair, I actually thought at one point, I think maybe in about an hour through or something, there was a point in time where I did think, this has got real classic Prem all over it. Do you know what I mean? This was real sort of noughties football sort of stuff. And it was entertaining. I've got to say that. And that's not unique for a Bournemouth game either. I think they do that. No. In the games where Bournemouth perform, exactly as you say, they create this quite chaotic game. And it is quite highly entertaining to watch, in fairness. And I enjoyed seeing our lads come out on top of that. That's the plus side of it, is that they had the character and ability to still be the better team in that environment, even if it might, typically be the one that suits Bournemouth. Yeah,
but it is then reliant on a bit of variance, a bit of footballing. It's not like they spend a lot of time creating stuff. It's not like we do, patterns of play to create that opening. It's very transitional. And again, if you can get through that, then and they fatigue out, you should be able, and you're winning, then you should be good. But that was it. That was it for me. So look, we've talked about the first half. I mean, Bournemouth, what you missed was they started off with 2 corners and a long throw. So they started off pretty quick, but you'd think, okay, we've ridden that out. Odegaard has a miscued shot. Madueke, does his thing where he shifts inside and should get in, and then we thought we'd ridden out until we give them a goal lead, but we managed to wrestle back control, and then we equalise in the 16th minute. Good work by Madueke coming down the right. I think Hincapié has a shot blocked, Martinelli has a shot block, and then Gabriel finishes like a centre forward. And look, it wasn't a set piece, and it wasn't a header. A cracking goal, and that's like 5 goal involvements he's had. Which is the top in the Premier League. And I think this again shows his. It's easy to say. Shows his attitude, shows his desire. I think he has that no matter what, whether he's trying to come back or not. But just shows how important to us going forward as well as defensively, and how much I think we missed that We missed that when we was out. We missed that something extra drive that he provides, that hunger, that is just inert in what not inert inside what he does. There was just the way he behaves. So and then I don't think not much happened after that. As we had the Tavernier header, we had that almost chance where Martinelli broke and he couldn't quite create it across, and then and that was that. And then second half, it turns out this was interesting. We are like the best team after half time. In that, something about what Arteta says, something about the halftime cup of tea and biscuits. But we come out, and I think we've now scored 12 goals in the first 15 minutes of the second half, and we sort of wrestled control. And what I liked about this goal, Timber looping clearance pass down the middle, but Nelly, I think second half he came more and was playing like as a second striker with Gyökeres sometimes, and he wins a header which knocks it onto Gyökeres. He battles for the ball. We say he attracted the defenders, and then Odegaard does that Odegaard thing where he feints, and I thought actually he should have shot, because I think it was a good chance for him to left hand shoot, but Rice was there in space, comes running onto it. I love that sort of goal when he passes it into the bottom of the net, passed it into the bottom right hand corner, and it was so sweet. And I think it was like, didn't cap off, but it's, I think it was well deserved, considering I think he was the best player on the pitch. So a lot to like about that goal. And then 20 odd minutes later, we made the subs, and the subs, Saka, Jesus and Trossard coming on, and you could argue we got stronger. We should have got stronger, and what a bench to have to get stronger. Taking off Gyökeres, Madueke and Martinelli and bringing those guys, and then Rice again, and this time it was Saka who was quality down the right hand side. Odegaard found him with a great little pass. I think the goalkeeper was a bit hesitant. Saka showed great speed to get there, and then there's Rice, Johnny on the spot. To a nice finish. Again, another nice finish when all the players are going one way and he just passes it and hits it into the net the other way. So what did you... Look, we've mentioned Rice twice. So that's that's the first time he's got a brace in the Premier League in 296 games. What did you make of Rice's performance yesterday? Given that we were questioning whether he still had a spot in the team after we beat Villa 4-1 without him.
Were you? I haven't listened to any episodes. That might have been a joke within it, but I bloody well hope it was.
It was a joke. It was a joke, of course.
It was. To be honest, otherwise than that, I would say it was relatively perfunctory. Apart from the 2 goals, to be honest, okay. I don't think he was astonishingly good otherwise in the game. But it's that thing, isn't it? He's become. I think Alan Shearer said on Match of the Day last night, he's become this consistent 8 out of 10 player in every single match. And it becomes an 8 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10 because he capped a midfield maestro performance with a couple of goals. It was probably a 6 or 7. It elevates to an 8 because he's gone and grabbed 2 goals. And it was great. It was proper, cometh the hour, cometh the man kind of stuff. And there were nice goals. His first in particular was such a good goal to watch, I think. There was something about that, and the finish is great. So yeah, it was a real world pleasure. You're starting to come to the weird thing is he's still not scoring as many goals as you want him to, but you just think if he can be in those positions more consistently, that I don't have any concerns with Declan Rice in that position, right? I think he's gonna, if he has those opportunities, he will score the majority of them. This is not some of the other players that we've had in the kind of the deeper midfield roles, whether it be 6 or 8 over several seasons. He will score in those positions because he's really composed and he's a really clean striker of the ball. He's just not in them that often. But yesterday, when he gets those 2 chances, you just feel something with Declan Rice when he runs onto it in that kind of position. He's got that ability in his locker.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing. You say that it is now his level. He's got to such levels when he puts in the performance like he did yesterday. Nothing special. But you're saying he's a 8 out of 10, which is pretty done good. And I wouldn't say
that every single game is like one of the world's best midfielders sort of performances. You know what I mean? That's where I place that. That's not a I'm not saying he doesn't reach, and it's not that he doesn't reach the the nines and the tens. He
No.
does, but
Yeah.
To be an 8 out of 10 game in game out midfield player, who I can remember having literally one game that's been below his standard of this whole season, is fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
And as I said, especially last month, 6 weeks, I think, since the last international break, I wouldn't say he's single-handedly driving this team forward, but he's the real driving force behind this team. He's so good, so important. He turns up everywhere. So if he's not like he did yesterday, scoring the goals, the one thing we did miss him from Villa was covering the left hand channel when Capio was going up, and that I think it was Sancho on the right hand side. And I think the reason Villa got some joy in the open spaces because Marino, once you get past Marino, he's not tracking back, whereas Rice will, and you don't get past him so easily. He covers every blade of grass. His set pieces are incredible. He scores goals. So and he's got a new song as well. So I don't know if you heard the new song, the Declan Rice song.
I've heard mention of it, but I didn't actually hear it itself.
Terrible as I am at singing it. It's this song, That's the Way, I like it. So it's Declan Rice, I like it, I think that's how it goes. So with no mention of the price tag anymore, and it's just his own nice little song. So there we go. And look, Arteta had some lovely words to say about him, like you said about being one of the best midfielders in the world. Yes, for me, yes. Declan is constantly adding things to his game. He's constantly adding things to the role in the team. I don't see where he can stop because he can still improve in a lot of area and wants to improve. He's such a pivotal player for us. And he said, Declan Rice was struggling the last few days, but pushed and made himself available. He played 96 minutes, scored 2 goals, and one of the best players in the pitch. That's the mentality we need from all of us. And I think, I'm not going to go down the captain discussion. It's nonsense because he does this with or without that. But he's a massive leader on the pitch. He leads by example. I think he's allowed to talk to the referees because he's got the English Harry Kane side of him, sort of thing. So he may get away with a bit more than others. So yeah, a lot to like about him and his performance overall. So did you think at 3-1 it was game over? It should have been game over.
I felt pretty comfortable. I didn't really feel like they were going to go and score 2.
Yeah.
But I did think there still might be another goal.
I said to my son, again, despite all the joking about the 3-1, 4-1, I said, yeah, I don't know. I think a goal's coming. Don't know where. It just is. It'll be very Bournemouth and it'll be very Arsenal of that to happen. So I wasn't comfy, and as you say, Krupi scored in the 76th minute. So actually, not only 4 minutes after we got the third. So we didn't really take control for very long, and should never have been allowed that space. But once he found the opportunity, great goal. I don't think you can put anything against Ray. I think he sees it late, so he almost got to it. But I don't think there's any fault on him.
Well, he shifts his weight, doesn't he? Unfortunately, so Krupi strikes it just as if you watch it from Ray's side. Yeah. He's literally just shifted his weight to go the other way, which is typically where you expect that shot to go. You're expecting that to go to his left-hand post, and instead it goes to his right, and as a result, he's not going to get anywhere near it. But I don't think it was a great error for him to do that. A goalkeeper has to have pick a point in time where he's moving his weight one way or the other, and it's unfortunately it's literally at the stage where he sets his weight is when the ball is struck.
Yeah. And he still almost got to it as well. So
it is what it is, isn't it? It's not nothing that David Ray is there. The only way he gets to it is if it's been struck half a second earlier and he hasn't shifted that weight, or if he's decided that he's going to go the other way. But if he is, that's a weird thing for the keeper to do because it's not what you're expecting from the ball striker in that position. Yeah, and
then after that, actually, again, very typical of Arsenal recently, we get nervy because of the one goal differential, but actually nothing happened afterwards. That again, it's felt threatening without any real threat. Yeah, we could have done better with some moments where we broke away. We could have kept the ball better in the corners, done something better. But actually, I think apart from the long throw at the end, there was not much going on, and the weirdest moment of that half was when was it Adley bends down to headbutt Gabriel's elbow and then tries to claim a foul. He was actually already in a yellow card, so you could be done for simulation. But he was like, yeah, I don't know what he was doing there. But when you replay, it's like, do they not know there's cameras, 4D cameras everywhere, just looking at this? And the weirdest thing that he did that, and then he does the old elbow sort of thing. Well, yes, because you've knelt down and headbutted Gabriel in the elbow, you idiot.
It was a very, very weird one, that, I've got to say.
Yeah, and actually it cost them, because it cost them valuable seconds, because I don't know if you saw at the end, Semenyo, there was a long throw in, and actually 6 minutes had gone, so they let him take the throw in, and we cleared it. And then he gets it back, and then the referee blows full time, and then they start complaining. It was, well, if that guy Adley hadn't have mucked around, but also, where's the rule that? And this is something I hate, and I'm happy for it for Arsenal as well. Where's the rule that says you have to keep playing until an attacking phase of play is over? No, once the added time is done, it's done. It shouldn't matter, but. It's one of those unwritten rules that seems to apply, so you can see where you could get upset. But we were in the same position in the first half,
isn't it? Which is which is what it is, and exactly. So, I mean, part of it is you've still only got to have a certain amount of time at the end of the day, haven't you? I felt for him slightly, because it was one of those, if it happens against you, I've been.
Well, it did in the first half. Yeah, this is one thing that frustrated me in the first half.
But it doesn't feel as impactful in the first half.
No, but Nkapia had the ball. I mean, it wound me up, because he should have crossed it, and we played. It's like we're all sitting. There's a minute. There's 30 seconds left. Just get the ball in the box. Get the ball in, and we don't. And it's sort of like, so it sort of happened to us. But no, I understand it. I can understand it, but also there's not a lot to argue about either. But anyway, it was game over. It's hard to enjoy Arsenal games at the moment until the final whistle goes. But since
I'm
losing
not in
to
that mode yet, actually.
No,
I know. I mean, I've been there.
You're not finding these stressful one goal differentials.
Very much been there in a couple of seasons prior.
Okay,
I can't remember whenever it was. There was a game against Leeds at some point in one year where I just realised all games were stressful from that moment onwards. Because it was Leeds, it must have been the first season that we were actually in the title race when Xhaka was still there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I for whatever reason, I'm at the moment still very, very relaxed. I'm just enjoying the team for what it is, and I think that's perhaps actually because there isn't the spectre of a dominant Man City. Feels even less so after today's result yet again.
Yeah,
but I've been fairly convinced of that for weeks anyway. I've been kind of watching them and going, yeah, they're good, but they're not that Man City. They're not that one that were a fucking freight train behind us that you knew were going to start up. That's not there. There is no Kevin De Bruyne lifting them out of the shit. They're a very good team with some decent players and some players that have improved this year. That's what they are, I actually think, if anything, it just feels very controllable for us, I think. And so,
well, even more so now. Yeah,
that's how I'm saying live a happy life, is just make it feel like it's very controllable and there's a lot to enjoy. So
okay, good. Rather you than me, because my carpet.
Those two Chelsea games as well don't look as bad as they did either. I don't think.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right with those as well. But the only thing is that they get the new manager in, and he'll want to sort of try and get something nice under his belt, so he'll go for it all out because he knows nothing's happening in the league. But anyway, we'll worry about that when they come. So look, since losing to Villa, I think we've had 7 wins, 5 in the Premier League. Again, some closer than we'd like, but Christmas can throw up some odd results, odd games, as we've just seen today, as stuff. So look, to get through that, I think it's 4 wins, 5 wins, get them, get 12 points. The goals are coming back. They're 7 in 2 games, and the old stuff about our XG. We were underperforming XG, so there's a bit of coming back to the mean. So players are starting to come back. So, and we should improve, and it's from a position of strength. So we're 15 points up from last season. After 20 matches played, we've got more points than the Invincibles had in 2003-04. So we're on 48 points. City now on 42. So that's six goal difference. And actually, we're on our goal difference is equal now, I think. If I'm looking at it correctly, I've got the league table here, but unfortunately, it's from when Man City were winning 1-0. So if I go to the Premier League, it should be updated. So. Yeah, so we're 6 points ahead of City. We've got the same goal difference. So we're also 6 points above Villa, but we got 17 more goals than them. So it's looking good. It's looking nice. Still a long way to go, but yeah, I'd rather be in this position than others. So just before we close out the Bournemouth game, there was one notable omission yesterday, or maybe not notable. Eze didn't come on at all. Didn't start. Is there any concerns? He's only played 57 minutes.
Oh God, man! If we're going to keep getting concerned about everyone that doesn't get a game at various points in time, then genuinely we're going to be concerned all the time with this squad.
Okay. I'm just interested because they said he's had.
No. Trust me, this isn't towards the question. This is more towards having seen this in a bunch of places, right?
Oh, okay. So you're not concerned then?
People are reevaluating the Eze signing and all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah.
If you have a squad this big, it's going to happen. And at the moment, I prefer to think about the fact that I'm really confident that Martin Odegaard is doing a great job again. That's great to see. And actually, maybe him never not being rushed back from yet another setback and yet another injury, because Eze was there, because Eze was doing a great job, because Mikel Merino was doing a great job, because everybody else, because that midfield has depth and quality, has allowed Martin Odegaard the time to properly recuperate and get himself in a position where he's come back and he's looked really good for several games now, and certainly Villa in this one, he's had key moments in. He wasn't this wasn't a dominant game for Odegaard. This is actually a very not suited to Martin Odegaard game, if I'm completely frank. But the moments of quality were there. He looked decent when he had to, and he picks the right pass when he has to. He gets another assist. And he just generally looks like he's back to his best. And that's what I kind of think of, is to think of the positives as to what we've got out of Eze so far. The Tottenham goals, etc., etc. The fact the manager
Palace, he also won us a game versus Palace in the league with his goal.
The manager seems to really trust him. The players seem to absolutely love him. He seems to. He came out and tweeted yesterday something about I love Arsenal or something like that.
Yeah.
Seemingly as a response to people talking about it. And I think the manager's interview as well was pretty much like, players are going to come in when they come in and they're going to be out when they come out.
Yeah.
And Eze is fantastic and he's been really good. Like, they're the things, that's sort of the way I tend to look at it. But I do understand the speculation to a degree, but I just think, what are you going to do with this depth? What are you going to do when you've got that much depth?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not particularly concerned. It's just calling it out as a discussion point. He's only played 57 minutes, and that was against Wolves in the 5 games since Villa. He was at fault for the cash goal because he just let him go. Interesting you say trust, and I'll come back to that. I mean, as you said, it's just part of being a big squad. He's no longer top dog. At Palace, he was the main man, given the ball, do your stuff. He's now amongst people that are as good, if not better than him. So he has to fit into that. It's a new style of play. When he plays also, he changes the way Arsenal play. So there's always that factor. It's not just one in, one out. It's not like for like, because it's slightly different. So you tweak. And I think maybe he would have been more designed for the left hand. So I think he could easily do the Trossard role. Yeah. And then do it better. It's just that Trossard's having the season of his life, and he's the number one left attacking forward. So that's just something that no one predicted. He did great, and he came in for Odegaard when Odegaard was injured, and when we were still getting loads of points, and he's done a job there. But I think the biggest thing is about in terms of trust, in terms of his off the ball work and defensive work. I think that's where he needs to show Arteta. And I think Madueke was again one of these ones who made everyone's thinking, he can do the attacking stuff, do the fancy stuff. Will he do the hard work? And I think Madueke has got the idea now, and he does do the hard work. It's now time for Eze to switch on to that part of his work, because you're trying to think, what is the game state that you'd bring him on? And the only one I can think of at the moment is two. One, if we're bereft of midfielders or attacking forwards, then he starts a game. Or if we're chasing a goal. But if we're holding on to a 1-0 lead or even the 2-0 lead, he's not bringing him on. And Arteta's very trust based. In you've seen it throughout the years. he plays the players that he trusts, that will do the job that he does. They'll do it. Whether how good they do is depending on the day. But I don't think he's built that defensive trust in him, shall we say? So that off the ball
and to
work
add to
trust.
that, I think it's not just that. I think that's the absolute thing. But I think also Arteta and the vast majority of managers, you don't bring on a player for the player.
Yeah.
You don't do it for the player you're bringing on. You sometimes do. There are times,
Yeah.
you do it for Ethan Nwaneri against Brentford several years back because you're coasting and you want to give him the opportunity. And you do that for young players sometimes, right? You do it for the player coming back from injury. And again, you do it when you're comfortable. You don't do it when the game is active as such. And at no point during that game, if I'm honest, yesterday, did I feel that we needed Cherries to come on. So, it's as simple as, Cherries is a 27-year-old, fantastic professional with a great skill, with an absolutely fantastic set of skills. That ultimately is not doing enough to impose himself to be in the team all the time. And therefore, he's going to come in as and when he's needed. And it's going to be needs-based. And he's not going to be brought on to make him feel better or so that he's got some minutes under his belt, because that's not what the lad needs. That's not what an Cherries needs. And it's also not what the Arsenal need. And the only way that I think you'll see him make those kind of sympathetic substitutions as such is going to be in those situations where we're very, very comfortable. And at that point, by all means. And, sometimes that need is you need to give somebody a rest, but also with Oda at the moment, you're probably going, and that's the most, obviously, I mentioned Oda is the most natural player for him to come on for. With Oda at the minute, you're probably going, fill your boots with some minutes whilst you're in this rich vein of form, because you haven't been for a while, and you're fit and you're firing. Let's get you playing a few extra, actually. Let's make you have 90s. Let's build your trust in yourself back up, actually.
Yeah.
So that's the way I kind of view it at the minute. It's just that I'm not concerned in any way.
No.
Cherries is a cracking player who continues to be quality for us as and when he's called upon.
He'll have his moments. As you're saying about Odegaard, that's 3 goals, 3 GA over the last 3 games. So keep him firing. Yeah, he'll have his moments. Look, it may not be the top games, but his time will come. But also, we got Kairat, we got the 2 Chelsea games, we got the FA Cup,
we got Chelsea,
we got Portsmouth. So there'll be. It may not be the glory minutes, but it's all part of this squad thing. I think everyone's bought into the whole squad thing. Like you said, he's messaged out there. Madueke with the same thing. It's all about everyone pulling for each other. Everyone, when you come in, do a job, and so on. So no, I'm not concerned, but it's just an interesting discussion point. A bit like Gyökeres is, when things are going well, you have to find things to talk about other than saying things are going well. So I think it's just the usual discourse, and often it's opposition fans trying to poke the bear sort of thing, and whatever. But I think it's a very positive position to be in. We're not going to be doing 3-word reviews because we did them last night on our Hot Off the Pitch instant reaction live streams. So if you like those, then go and check that out, which is available on our pod feeds and our YouTube channel at the Grove AFC under the live section. Yeah, we did them yesterday. Some good and funny ones. And for those that don't know, for the away games or games that I'm not able to attend, we try and do a live stream instant reaction minutes after the final whistle. Bit chaotic, bit all over the place, but more of a guttural, emotional review of the game. So again, if you like that sort of thing, keep an eye out on the socials as to when we announce them. I think likely the next one is post Portsmouth, if it happens, because their game today was cancelled due to frozen pitch. So and it's meant to get colder next week. But next one is hopefully will be after the Portsmouth game in the FA Cup. And one final word, I saw this quote, or I saw this part of a sort of interview with Ray Parlour where he said, you don't analyse a season at the end of it by saying we didn't play that well there or there. It's all about getting points on the board. And look, yesterday, in the end, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. We got the job done. We're scoring goals. We deserve to win, and we move on to the next game, which is against Liverpool on Thursday evening, I think, to accommodate the FA Cup, Thursday, 8:00. So, Jamie, what are you looking forward to, not looking forward to as far as Liverpool at home on Thursday evenings concerned?
Looking forward to Liverpool being the Liverpool they've been this season, not looking forward to Liverpool being the badge that they are. That's basically it. there's still an element of intimidation. It's a Thursday night game. It's the big game. It's the everybody watches game. And sometimes in these games, form goes out the window, and that is always the concern. So, and they have enough quality, right? They have enough. If you're talking about class is permanent, form is temporary.
Yeah,
class is there. We also have, I think, in my opinion, just as much class. All right, they are missing the classiest of the class out of their team as well, and questioning marks as to whether he actually wants to be there anyway. But he's off in Africa at the minute. So I do believe that we have the strength. Being at home against Liverpool, we absolutely should go out there and get a confident win. But I am always slightly concerned about class is permanent and the badge. It's never, we've seen it with United when they've been shit. Unfortunately, they turn up sometimes, and we've been in that position.
Yeah, but they know how to play when they're shit. I don't think Liverpool do.
We've also been in that position, haven't we? We've been during our, the banter years, as people like to call them or whatever. We've turned up and given people a game because it's Tottenham. When Tottenham were much better than us, they still weren't beating than us on a regular basis. And they were much better than us for about 5-6 years. They were significantly better than us and had Modric's and Bales and players like this.
Okay.
They were, mate. They absolutely were.
Yeah.
They finished ahead of us about 4 times. But
they were a better
team than us. And we largely had the run of most of those NLDs at the time. And that is one of those things. It is the badge always comes into it in these kind of big night games. So that's what I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah.
But the bit that I am looking forward to is Liverpool to shite, and I haven't seen Liverpool come to the Arsenal when they're a shite team in years. So if we can actually hoon them about the pitch a little bit, I will be having the time of my life.
Have you got a ticket?
I haven't yet. No,
it's a bit barren out there
at the moment, so it is what it is.
Okay, well, I'm sure we'll sort you out. Get you one. Don't worry, the Grove will get onto that. On that is an interesting point. The likes of Man United have come to us when they've been poor and managed to get results. We've managed to get results when we're poor. I think that's down to actually knowing how to play when you're poor. If you see what I mean, knowing how to get those results from those games. I don't think Liverpool know how to do that. I don't know if they know how to be dogged. If that's the way to talk about it. Man United come to us, they were dogged.
You want them to turn up like they did at City, right? As simple as that. If they turn up like they did at City, we'll absolutely tear them a new one. That's like that's the thing you want.
I don't think it's in their nature to be sort of dogged in terms of the way the players that they have and all the rest of it. Look, it is what I'm looking forward to. It's a good time to play them, and that's the way seasons go. Sometimes you play teams at the right time, sometimes you play them at the wrong time, and it works both ways. But they got no Salah because he's in AFCON, no Isak, broken leg. Also, they might be without Ekitike, who's got a minor hamstring now. Hamstrings. Yeah, he didn't play today. He wasn't in the squad, so he's got a minor hamstring now. That could be, a normal hamstring is 3 weeks, so a minor one could be 1 week. So even if he does turn up, is he going to be having that in the back of his head and all the rest of it? Slot couldn't confirm. He said he's not sure if he's going to be fit. Now he might be saying that, whatever. We don't know where he got it. But
if they got behind that, then as a striker.
Well, they played Gakpo up front today. He did score. He did score their winner, and did a Richarlison until it wasn't their winner. So yeah. Look, and they're not in great form. They look vulnerable. As I said, I don't think they're the dogged type. Van Dijk isn't the player he used to be. Kanate can be a shambles. Okay, Bradley played okay today, but they've got who's the Scottish one? I've forgotten. Left back.
Andy Robertson.
I was thinking Robinson because of the Fulham. We have Robertson, Frimpong, Gyökeres. None of these are going to scare you. Now, look, of course, they're going to come and score now, but it's just, So if you're going to play them, now's the time. They're coming off the back of they drew today against Fulham.
No January signings yet. They're certainly ain't gonna have somebody by Thursday. In fact,
no, exactly. They drew.
Have the FFP to be able to do it. To be completely frank, with the amount they spent, but
they drew with Leeds. They drew with Leeds 0-0 at home, and look, their only wins have been Wolves at home 2-1, and even then that wasn't the easiest. They beat Tottenham away 2-1, but that's Tottenham, and they beat Brighton, who can't win in December. Did you know Hertzler has not won in December yet? It's ever for Brighton. And then they drew 3-3 away to Leeds. They drew 1-1 at home to Sunderland. Okay, they beat West Ham, and they're back, but then they lose at home 3-0 to Forest. They lose away to Man City 3-0. So, they lost at Brentford 3-2. So this is not, what's it? They're now in fourth place. They've home form 1-6, drew 2, lost 2. Away form 1-4, drew 2, lost 4. They've scored 17 away but let in 18, so -1. So, traveling isn't their best forte. But somehow, even though they've only won 10 games, drew 4 and lost 6, they're still in fourth. They're somehow in fourth. Okay, sorry, we had some technical issues there. We just spent a few minutes trying to sort that out. Anyway, so we were talking Liverpool and how much we're going to thrash them. So and how shit they are, I think, or something like that. Anyway, so let's finish
you
off.
Were convincing me of how shit they have been this season. I was going to just interject. You do not have to tell me any other various metrics that tell me how shit Liverpool have been. I've seen it. I've been there. I've been rejoicing in it.
But they're still. This was it. They're still fourth. Now this talks about the Premier League in terms of anything below Arsenal, City, and Villa is just, it's nuts. I think what is it, between fourth and 14th? There's 7 points. It's incredible. So it's anyone's game, like the European positions. But Crystal Palace in 14th on 27, Tottenham in 13th on 27, all the way up to Man United. Again, how are they? They are so bad, and they're 5th on 31 points. So it's like, but anyway,
the points are mad though, aren't they? Down to 14th. Yeah. So 14th and 4th are separated by 7 points.
I know, it's nuts.
And that's anyway, just speaks to the as you say, what the league is now.
Yeah. So anyway, let's finish off with how do you think we're going to line up? I think this will be fairly easy, and then your prediction.
I mean, Saka comes back in. I think Trossard probably comes back in. I think both of those were left out of this game to keep them fresh for this one,
Yeah.
I think he will start Gyökeres. I think he did enough in that game to say that he starts this one. Mm-hmm. And that's it really. Otherwise, no changes, right? It's just, roll on. The only question mark is whether it's that eternal one of, does Mikel Merino turn up because of in this game? And I think in this particular occasion is the one where I'm fairly confident in saying I don't think it will, because I think the things are tickety-boo at the moment, and you stick with what's there. Yeah.
No, we're home. I think Liverpool away, the reason he played was because, was Odegaard fit? I don't think Odegaard was fit, so that's part of the reason why he played. But for me, Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, Zubi, Odegaard, Saka, Gyökeres, Trossard. The only thing is, Calafiori's strange injury. Is he going to come back, or do you keep with Nketiah because he's there now? He's got a few games under his belt. Can Calafiori come back in? So it's a bit odd, strange injury going off in the warm up, and now we don't see him for 3 games. So that's the only question mark for me.
I think it's Nketiah again. To be honest, I think he goes again, and the slight question mark over whether you could bring Miles in, if there's any reason to, if you see a reason within the game plan, and that's it really. That's the only question mark, actually, probably across the entire starting 11 for me. Yeah. The other one being Martinelli versus Trossard is not an obvious one. There is still a question there, and then you've even got the third option of, Madueke is back in the frame as well, that potentially you stick him on the left too.
I did say that Nelly seems to do well against Liverpool, but again, off the bench option, I think will be great for him, and bring Trossard back.
I think it's Tross that starts that game personally. Yeah. But it's and the thing that I'd like to see as well, hopefully we get the reappearance of Kai Havertz on the bench again.
Yes, let's hope so.
As we understand it, I was very relieved. That was another lineup thing I didn't mention earlier, but I was very upset to not see him on the bench, thinking immediately he must be injured, and then hearing that he was with the squad for the simple reason that it's they want him to rest and recover. Yeah. Great.
That's fine. And look, then we're going to rotate big for Portsmouth, so we go all in on Liverpool.
Well, I think that'll probably be the game Havertz comes back into, personally.
we see, but he'll get minutes off the bench. I'd imagine.
Start, Havertz comes on.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm sort of envisaging that one, right?
No, absolutely. So look, the last, since 2020, we've played them 6 times at the Emirates. We've won 3, drawn 1, lost 2. We've had some decent results over recent years. Last year we only drew because we ended up having a defence made up of MLS, Kivior, White, and Partey. Players going off injured, or players not being available. Year before we won 3-1. So, we've got to be confident going into this, given our form, given their form. As we said, it's a big game, the badge and all the rest of it. But I think, again, let's show our title credentials. Don't do all the effort against Villa, against Bournemouth, and not finish it off with 3 points against Villa. Let's make the most of this 6-point advantage that we've got. Don't give our rivals anything to sort of latch on to. So, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go absolutely balls out here because
not on video, hopefully.
I will say, and I clocked this the other day, by the way. Dear listener, Tabs has provided an updated table of where we are with these predictions, and at the moment there's a point between us, and I'm feeling a bit aggrieved by the fact that I've missed a whole bunch of games because I didn't get my predictions in on time.
Got to be in it to win it.
It's also not great to not have the team lose before we get to it as well. Now, on our side, I'm fairly confident, but I'm also fairly confident if they don't have Hugo Ekitike, then the chances of them scoring reduce by an even more considerable amount than their general play. I'm going to go with 5-0.
Wow. Okay.
For the very simple reason that I think in these big games, and don't get me wrong, I also have a massive fear that this could be a draw or a loss. But there's that thing where, when we just go really bloody statementy, and I'm thinking when we beat Chelsea 5-0, I'm thinking when we beat
City 5-1.
When we beat City 5-1. It's got a lot of the City 5-1 about it for me, this. It's got a lot of the, do you know what? We're going to absolutely put the fucking boot into these lot. And that was a similar time of the season, I think, as well, wasn't it? It was a winter game, at least, night game, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just think this has a little bit of, the boys are in good form. The boys are looking quite good, scoring goals at the moment. And with where Liverpool are at the minute, I just think they'll be G'd up with an absolute killer instinct. Just an absolute, we want to go out and murder these bastards. And I think we're good enough to do it. So I'm going to go, really, really hefty on this with a 5-0.
Wow. Okay, we need to get you and McFarlane into the changing room before the game. So
you went with the 4-1 against Villa. I thought that was mental, but
that was based on just the XG XG chickens coming home to roost. So and I went to 4-1 for Bournemouth, and I tell you what, we don't let that goal in 3-2. It wouldn't be far off, but I'm bold, but not that bold. I think going for 3-0. For me, 3-0, 3-1. We're looking to,
City did them 3-0, so I was also spurred on by thinking we've got to go better than City. So I was very tempted to just go 4, but then I thought about it and just went, nah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go for it.
Okay, all right. I'm going 3. So we've got big bold predictions against Liverpool. Wow, this is the okay. Let's see. No, I'll take it. I'll take all it. To be honest, I'll take a 1-0 win. I don't care. Let's just keep the winning run going.
I think it's got the bit about City last season as well.
Yeah.
Where the other thing is, if we're like 2-0 and there's half out to go, and we bring on a few boys, and they bring on a few boys, there's an absolute dog shit on the bench at the moment in terms of form again. Whereas ours coming off the bench on form, want to go at them and want to, if it's Madueke, for instance, or if it's, if it's Martinelli, whatever. Eza, guys that want to make another mark as well. And I just have a feeling, I think there's something about Arteta in these games where he's quite happy to try and absolutely tramp the dirt down. And we'll have the bit between our teeth because of what happened at the start of the season. I think they'll feel a bit aggrieved over that one. And I just have a feeling that this is going to be one of those incredibly focused, incredibly ruthless performances. Certainly, if we get the best Arsenal, that's what we get.
My one thing is that we've not had anything stupid from a referee yet. So that Anthony Taylor's always got that in his back pocket. So let's see. But we seem to be
It's
better
actually
at that.
mental, by the way, that we've gone for 3 and 5 nearly against a team that are fourth in the league as well. Man. I mean, that's the strange thing about it, as you say. Like but
yeah,
it's the specific weaknesses, specific issues they have, and the specific strengths of this team. I think they're just such a horrible mismatch for them. If both teams play as they have done over the last 4 months.
Yeah. No, let's see. As I said, I'll take the 1-0, but yeah, I like our boldness. So there we go. But I'm not going to be going on any Liverpool podcasts and telling that we predicted 5-0, 3-0. So let's keep it to ourselves.
I don't think any Liverpool fans going to invite you on their podcast.
That's fine. I'm not going to accept any offers. Right. Anyway, good. Right. Thank you for that, Jamie. Appreciate it. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Good luck with dry January. I think we're going to need all the luck. Well, look, thank you, everyone.
The bigger one's going to be if we win 5-0. Okay, now it's going to be a bit difficult at that
point. So dry January. Let's do dry February. Here we go. Okay, look, thank you, everyone, for listening. Look, you can follow us on Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, X, Instagram, at The Grove AFC, on our YouTube channel as well, where we release these as videos, where we do our live streams. Next show will be post Liverpool, pre Portsmouth in the third round in the FA Cup. As I said, if you can, leave a subscribe, rate us on the usual podcast feeds on the YouTube channel, much appreciated. And look, as I said at the beginning, Happy New Year to you. I hope that it's happy, healthy one for you and your families, and one where we're able to celebrate winning some oversized silverware. And I do not mean the EFL Cup. Okay, so thank you for listening, and until the next time, come on you Gunners.